deep in the darkened halls of a near-deserted temple, sitting on the shores of an oasis in the kingdom of Labu, or what is to us modern-day Libya, a woman walked, a halting, almost slithering movement to her gate. Her hair was arranged in braids. Each one had a tiny snake skull at its end, so that she rattled as she moved. Her face was hidden behind a mask of gold, beautiful, cold, and deadly. A bloodied handprint across one eye and down its cheek. Around her waist were two live snakes, her companions. One had the power to blind by spitting its venom into the eyes of the person looking at it. The other to paralyze by sinking fangs into unguarded flesh. These were the guardians of the High Priestess Metis, known to us as Medusa. Welcome to KS Dragon Court, podcast number 4. Who was the real Medusa? Just like the serpent queen Lamia, who ruled ancient Libya and incurred the wrath of the Greek gods Zeus and Hera, suffering dismemberment and the death of her children, and being turned into a monster in myths, just to add insult to injury, Medusa appears to have also become enemy number 1 to the Greeks. But why? What do the two women, powerful queens and priestesses, have in common? Besides location, serpents are the obvious answer. Yes, while we are taught that Medusa was Greek, there are some that believe she and her temple were in ancient Libya, which falls in line with the statues depicting her found in churches across France, though they have made her look grotesque rather than the beauty she was reputed to be. She may have been a high priestess ruling as part of triumvirate, 3 priestesses representing Mother, Maiden, and Crone, and she most likely was the Crone. If these women were part of the ancient serpent civilization that stretched across North Africa to the Levant, India, and beyond, then these tales we've been taught have their roots in a clash of cultures, or even an invasion by the Greeks and later the Romans. From Atargatis to Medusa, the Shamaran of Turkey, to Nyala Kidul of Java, Salammbô of Carthage, to Melusine of France, the tale of a serpent goddess or priestess is also a tale of betrayal at the hands of humans. There is a pattern in all these stories that suggests that the kernel of truth hidden in the magic, monsters, deities, and demons is nothing more than the story of a war fought and lost between conquerors and those they conquered. Tales of warriors subduing and killing women would not be worth bragging about, and so the women had to become more monstrous, more powerful, more terrifying, to make the battle legendary and the vanquishing understandable, even desirable. So what happened to Medusa to give credence to the belief that she should be feared? According to Ovid, she was a priestess at the temple of Athena, a beautiful maiden who was seduced by Poseidon, although other versions tell a slightly different story, saying Medusa was unwilling. Whether or not she chose to be in a relationship with Poseidon or had been overpowered, Athena, like Hera with Queen Lamia, chose to punish Medusa, making her grotesque so that no man would even look on her again. Retreating to her lair and hiding behind a mask, she tried to live in peace and seclusion, but the warriors just could not let her be. Her very existence was an affront to them, and so they took it upon themselves to invade her personal space and try to kill her. Thanks to her powers and serpents, killing her was more difficult than they'd hoped, and they were all turned into stone, dotted around her lair like trophies, until Perseus, with the help of Athena, was able to creep up on her from behind and behead her. This, we are taught, is a great tale of a mighty warrior still in his youth, overcoming a monstrous demon with superpowers. But what if she was just a woman, a human like us? A priestess guarding her people's knowledge and treasures, with her own influence and power, not dependent on a father, a husband, or a brother. Such a woman would have been deemed extremely dangerous to a patriarchal society where women were legally property of the male members of their family. After all, those in charge wouldn't have wanted their own women to get any ideas. This alone would have necessitated her assassination and would have been the reason for the continuous attempts, which were thwarted by the temple's defenses, including the snakes, and perhaps a vat of limestone to dip the defeated warriors in after they'd been overcome and paralyzed. The serpent priestesses, no matter which country they resided in, were known for having knowledge of healing, herbs, medicines, and poisons. They were not defenseless, but they were not known for being warriors either. They used what they had, including well-fortified temples and palaces with mazes, dead ends, tunnels, and other structures to ward off those they wished to keep away, relying on sleep-inducing or death-dealing toxins and potions to vanquish those who got through the defenses. Medusa's temple would have been no different. As high priestess, she would have received supplicants, overseen ceremonies, trained the acolytes, and dispensed healing and wisdom to her people, perhaps even judgment on those deserving of it. Not once does she go on a path of conquest or destruction, choosing to stay within her own walls. A person of importance to her people, and a woman to boot, which makes her betrayal at the hands of another woman that much worse, especially if her temple offered sanctuary to women from far and wide. It was Athena, the one who supposedly cursed Medusa to begin with, who lent Perseus her shield so that he could see Medusa in its reflection and avoid being turned into stone while he chopped off her head. It was Athena who mounted Medusa's head on her shield and carried it in a show of triumph afterwards. There is a lot to unpack with Athena, the goddess of wisdom. She not only aided in the downfall of Medusa, she also helped Perseus rescue Chariclea, the princess of Ethiopia, known to us as Andromeda, which we will explore in another podcast. Athena also betrayed Clytemnestra, Helen of Troy's sister, labeling women as second-class citizens and inferior to men in the process. Praised for her wisdom by the Greeks, she betrayed women again and again, siding with the men, which is probably why she was held up as a paragon of virtue and wisdom by those same men. The fascination with Medusa never went away. She has stood the test of time. She has been depicted in art, books, movies, sculpture, and jewelry, and her depictions are as varied as the descriptions. From the grotesque gargoyles in medieval France to beautiful but doomed sculptures crafted in the Renaissance and modern digital art, we see her in all her forms: young, old, gorgeous, hideous, deformed and monstrous, witchy, even goddess-like, the power retained in her gaze even after death. She represents every woman who has ever tried to retreat from the world at any stage in her life, and that seclusion has been denied. Every keeper of ancestral knowledge that was targeted by conquerors or religious authorities. Every woman who was punished for a crime she was a victim of, or for having free will and choosing her path and partners. Every woman who was not allowed to defend herself from aggressors who were stronger and more heavily armed than her. Every woman slain, her death celebrated, her body and face mocked, while her killer is turned into a hero. Was Medusa an innocent, naive young girl, living alone in a cottage surrounded by flowers, forest creatures, and sunshine? No, she was a powerful woman and keeper of knowledge, holder of secrets. She had snakes as companions, and would, as other serpent priestesses, known how to use flowers, herbs, venoms, and toxins to both cure and to kill. To cross her was to face severe punishment, even death. Her face was masked, perhaps to hide her identity for protection, or because her position was so high ordinary people couldn't look at her. Only those who had undergone training, testing, passing initiation ceremonies, and making it through rituals would have gotten close enough to her to perhaps see under her mask. She was formidable in her office, surrounded by serpents and those who protected her, the Gorgons. But she was still human, perhaps even elderly by the time she was betrayed. And unlike the Shamaran who knew of the betrayal and her impending death and allowed it to happen, Medusa was caught by surprise and killed. Killed, but not vanquished. Just like the regeneration powers of a serpent, she has risen again and again, always reminding us of who she was, what occurred, and to look for the truth hidden in the myth. Thank you for listening to The Real Medusa. Join us next time as we explore another fascinating topic in the world of mythology and spirituality. Every week we will be looking at the serpent civilization and some of its amazing gods, goddesses, priestesses, and rituals. If you like alternate history, the occult, temple secrets, and the lost serpent civilization, don't forget to subscribe. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and leave a review. Until next time, keep exploring the mysteries of the past and never stop asking questions.